For taking the time for this interview about caretaking. I do know personally you have experience in caretaking.
Yes.
And that is caretaking of your
mother.
Right. And how long have you been caretaking for your mom?
She's been with me for about 13 years. For the last, I say, 4 years that I've really had to step it up and caring for her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And within, you said 13 years, wow,
Yeah.
of caring for your mom, was it always where, one-on-one per se, even though she may not have been totally in your care of your house?
The last few years, it has changed because she never had a diagnosis of what her issues were. She has dementia and she has Parkinson's.
Now, how did that make you feel as far as how did you become the caretaker? Because you have siblings, right?
Yep, I have 3 brothers and 1 sister, which they're all older. I'm the last one.
Oh.
When I came back to the States, I lived in my husband's, Jack, retired Marine Corps.
Okay.
And when we came back to the States, I had found out that my mother, who lived alone at the time, had fell down the stairs at her apartment and hit her head on her coffee table on a corner. And they didn't know how long she was laying out. Wow. Somebody decided to go over and check on her. And then I found out, and I was really bothered by the fact that 2 of my siblings and their children lived up there with her, but nobody knew how long she was there. So apparently no one was, really checking all the time. Sometimes I know they're busy.
Right.
So I said, you just come live with me until you get it together.
Right.
And she was supposed to come down here, move down here with us and get an apartment and things like that. But that didn't work out because her health wasn't the best. So she was good for the most part. She was able to drive around. She met new friends, church, and all that good stuff.
Right.
But she didn't need to be on her own.
Right. So that played a key in your decision of taking care of your mother because the siblings weren't checking on her the way you thought.
Well, I was nervous about it.
Okay.
I wasn't there, and in my mind, I'm like, no, you're not checking on her, but I can't really say.
Right.
Because I wasn't there, but I thought it would be better to have someone in the house with her on a regular basis. And you can't volunteer information to make people do things, so I said, come on down and live with me, so at least I know what's going on and not try to force anyone to do anything that perhaps they didn't have time to do.
Now, you're married, so did you talk with your husband before making that decision?
Actually, it's so funny. I think we were dating, and we discussed the fact that our parents would have to live with us. His mom, his dad was deceased. My mom and dad may have to live with me. So we talked about that prior to marriage, and it was, I don't know how we came about, but it was set. Wow, so we talked about it briefly and said, well, it's time. Oh, okay, so it was fine.
Well, that's good because you had, like you said, talked about it ahead of time before you even got married.
Right, because you know when you grow up who is going to be the one.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, and people try to ignore it, but you know, because I always said that you're not going to live with me, you're going to live in a home. So, but when she remembers, she teases me about that all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, so, as you were saying, your mom's progress as far as her health just continued to kind of go down over the years.
It did.
How did that weigh on you, knowing that earlier in the process you said, all right, I'm going to be the one to care for her, but did you ever imagine it would come to this point where her health is dementia? And
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. She's been sick my entire life. So I knew it would come down to this, even as a small child, doing things like she would go take a bath, and she loves extremely hot water. So, and knowing that she shouldn't because she was weak and always sick, I'd have to go pull her head by the hair because I was that small, I couldn't get anything, and yell for help because she would drown.
Wow.
And my brother, he's 2 years older than I am, he would come in a little more stronger until we got someone to come and help and get her out of there. But so she's always been sick, so that's always been a worry of mine, leaving her, especially when I got married and traveled with my husband. So and she's as time went on while living with me, she started having TIAs, transient ischemic attacks. They are mild strokes, and she had a few of those.
How did you even find out about that?
Because
obviously
I didn't know what it was originally, but it was when they get. She always had headaches, but a great headache, which settles in the back of her head and her neck, and she can't really move, and it's just really painful and dizziness. Well, that's how I learned that that's what that was.
Right.
It may not be the same for everyone.
Right, because
she's had more than one.
Wow.
So, taking her to the emergency room because it wasn't like a regular stroke where the numbness and tingling. Right. She had some of that in her speech and her face and everything, but that was the first signs of what it was. So we pay attention to, we monitor that closely.
Okay.
So when she gets her headache, we'll, just try to jump on it to see if it's a sinus headache or, just
right,
tension.
Or a migraine. That's
right.
what I was going to say. Wow, how did you differentiate between the migraine? Because a lot of people, their symptoms when they get a migraine is the headache either back here or in the forefront. They can't move, lighting, obviously, and stuff like that. But, wow, that's good that you guys have been paying attention all this time to know something was severely wrong and needed to get a diagnosis. How's this weight on you emotionally in the family? It's not just you, Karen. You have a family.
Yep. It's at first because my mother is one that likes attention.
Okay.
So it was tough to decide. Well, try to differentiate whether it was seeking attention or she's really sick and need attention. So because a simple thing like you're sitting right here. Can you go give me a glass of water? It's like, what?
Right.
The water's right there.
Right.
But then to realize she really can't get up and go get that glass of water. She can't even hold the glass in her hand.
Wow.
So it took some time. And it's just like an emotional roller coaster because you see your mom or your parent now, but then you remember who they were or how they were.
Right.
And it's like, oh, wow, that she's not even herself anymore.
Right.
And she's never going to be the same. And then drastic weight loss. She was a size 16, 18. She went all the way down to a 4 petite.
Wow.
So, and it's like, what's going on? You know? And then, it's a whole bunch of things. I tried to keep her as independent as I could, give you your medicines and take care of yourself, make your appointments, but then that was going crazy, bills going crazy, not being paid, having old, outdated medication in her medicine bag, and then having to see that, and I just cried because she could have killed herself, and I didn't even know it because I thought she was still good because I didn't realize that her dementia had taken over quite as much as it has because to talk to her, she's, there on a ball, and yes, she repeated herself, but she always repeated her. She had been repeating herself for a number of years, but we didn't realize it was getting worse, But you just have to pay more attention, and then I felt bad because I'm like, you're not even paying attention to your mother, and she's right here in the same house, something could happen. And then the kids wouldn't know what to do. It was like, well, Grandma said this, or that, or something, and then money. She has her own pay, so I was letting her manage her own money. Then she couldn't find it. And so, of course, we're all like, we didn't take it.
Right.
Feeling like you think we're stealing from you. So it's just like, okay, I'm not even going in Grandma's room. I'm not going next to Grandma, so you take care of everything, Mommy. Wow. So it was one of those things until we all realized that she can't remember half the things that are going on. And it's not personal.
Right.
It's just she thought she did, like, put the money in a nightstand right here. But she probably never did. She thought she was going to get it, never got it, so therefore never put it in the nightstand. Right. So don't worry about it.
Right.
But you don't know that when you're going through, and it's like, she's calling me a thief.
Right.
But and my husband, he's very helpful, and he pays close attention. If I need assistance, he's there to give her medication. He gives her, we have to cater to her basically because we don't want her walking up and downstairs, so he'll take her breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or anything that she needs to her, And I was out of town one time, and he had to care for her. She had an accident, so he helped her in the bathroom so she could take care of herself and everything like that. So he's here to help, and my son, she goes to a center, a senior care center, 3 days a week. Since he works second shift, he's the one that's home who helps her to wake her up in the morning, give her her coffee and something to eat, and I take her clothes out every day or every night so she can just put them on, and he'll bring her downstairs and wait for the bus to pick her up. Put her on the bus, and if the bus is late, he'll take her, stuff like that. So we all rally around, and when he is home from school, she does the same thing in Raven, especially during the summer. So, and Raven gets her every day after school.
With your kids, because again, it's a family support system, which is awesome that you have here, and is a blessing because there could be families out there that it just totally falls on that one caregiver.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this is your mom, so you take care. You know, or this is your dad. But I have to ask also, with the kids being so involved, have you guys been proactive with the day that could be coming of her passing and how that will affect them because they're so connected in her everyday care?
We talk about it. We try not to. We don't talk about it
Not
on a
morbidly,
regular
but
basis.
more of a
Right.
yeah.
That, because I try to reinforce this is your grandmother.
Right.
In fact, this is your only grandmother that's living.
Wow.
So get the time in while you can.
Yeah.
Because it may come a time when she may not remember you, and that's not on purpose.
Right.
My daughter's in school,
Mm-hmm.
so she comes home on the weekends sometimes and throughout the summer. But as her dementia gets worse, she may forget. That who that is, and then the other children, and they sometimes they don't want to see the changes that are going on.
Right.
But so with Raven, the youngest one, I'll say, "Here's Grandma. Can you take her plate?" So she can at least go in a room and say hi or something like that, because otherwise she may not.
Right.
Because she just wants to keep clear of that. And as far as getting prepared with paperwork, I did do the will. I did the living will, and then I forgot the name of the third will.
Okay.
So the third one about property.
Okay.
So we
estates
have that,
and stuff like that.
So we have that intact.
Okay.
And the doctors, they all ask for it, especially, and then a power of attorney.
Right.
Okay.
Are you also her power of attorney? Okay.
I learned that you don't need guardianship if you have a power of attorney. However, if you don't do all this paperwork to get the power of attorney and everything in order, you have to file for guardianship if you're going to try to make decisions for the individual. So I had time. I thought it through. I was able to go and get these things done. Some people have parents in which they didn't. Well, they could be living on their own. They were perfectly fine, and then something happens.
Right.
And they didn't have time to go get power of attorney because they can't sign in their right mind to say that I want this so-and-so to watch over me. So then they have to go and get guardianship.
Okay.
So keep in mind that's two separate issues.
Okay.
So power of attorney, you don't need guardianship. But if you don't have a power of attorney, that's what you have to go get.
Gotcha. Do you need your siblings' blessing? Like, anybody can get the power of attorney?
Who's ever taken care of that person. So in my case, because I take care of my mother, I have the power of attorney, and I do have my sister on as a secondary. Should something happen to me.
Right.
However, if someone else wanted the power of attorney, they're going to take her too.
Right. Oh, I understand that.
So you're going to get it all.
I just want to see how the law protects the person of interest of, can anybody at any time be like, I want to be the power of attorney, or is it something that everyone has to agree on? You know what I mean?
Well, with your sibling, I didn't ask.
Okay, but it makes sense because like you said, she's in your care. But for someone who has yet to go and be the caretaker of their parents, that would be a question as far as, okay, if that time comes, or if we're talking about being proactive, do I need my siblings to be like, yeah, you'll be the power of attorney, and then the lawyer's like, okay,
so
because
you don't even have attorney involved. So if you like, you all can come together. The family can come together and decide who's going to be the caregiver, who's going to have the power of attorney. And some families may share it. They may say, well, I'll take care of the physical needs, you take care of the monetary things.
And they can both be named as power of attorney.
Right.
Oh, okay.
First and a secondary.
Okay.
So, but you choose who's going to do what. But more than likely, because you're taking care of the physical and everything, you're going to take care of the financial and everything else to go with it. Because you still have to go to the doctor. You still have to make payments when you go to the doctor, insurance and all that kind of stuff. So.